Hello, today we are going to take another topic from your GS4 ethics paper. So the topic is aptitude. Okay, aptitude is a innate ability to do a particular skill set. For example, if there is a mathematician, he is very good at algorithmic calculations, right? And a fish cannot be judged by its ability to climb a tree because its natural aptitude is to swim. Is it clear? So here, let's see, in the last class I have discussed attitude. So let's see what is the difference between attitude and aptitude. Aptitude is yogyata, competency to do any skill. It can be tested, it can be trained, and it determines the performance towards certain task. Whereas attitude is a mental state or a psychological construct about any object, place, or thing. Now, this is internal, inferred via behavior. It can be molded. We have done in the last class of attitude that attitudinal change can be brought about by cognitive restructuring, by social facilitation, by pro-social behavior, right? Restructuring, right, by value induction program. Okay, and it determines the ethical stance. Is it clear? And it is said that a bureaucrat of average aptitude but good attitude is very much desirable for the governance administration. Now, UPSC has already given in your syllabus foundational values for public services. Let's very quickly pick them up over here. The first one is integrity. Integrity means satyanishta, okay? It is a consistency between your thought, your action and your belief even when nobody has been watching you. Example over here, I have already mentioned multiple times, Lal Bahadur Shastri when he resigned as a rail minister, okay, during his tenure. Another keyword over here is impartiality or non-partisanship. Okay, now understand bureaucrats need to have political neutrality but not program neutrality. Okay, he should be impartial towards decision making for promotion of the welfare of all the sections of the society. Example, the election should be free and fair. We have seen in 1990s TN session, right? During his time, there was a lot of booth capturing and all. So he implemented the moral code of conduct. Another keyword over here is objectivity. Objectivity is vastunishtha, which is based on facts and logical reasoning instead of hypothetical analysis. Okay, example, usage of RTI, okay, to get the exact information based on facts and figures. Otherwise, Aadhaar implementation is there, which is implying objectivity without any discrimination or biasness. Okay, another keyword over here is dedication to the public service. This we have seen example with Abdul Kalam. He was dedicated to his public service, right? And what does it means? That you are doing a duty for a duty's sake. You are not working for any kind of financial gain, rather for public interest. Example over here will be E. Sridharan, who completed the Delhi Metro Rail Corporation. Another keyword over here is empathy. Empathy means samanubhuti, which means I step into your shoes and I try to understand the situation. I have discussed this in 50 terminologies. That at a very basic level is sympathy, then is empathy, and a greater circle is compassion, right? Now let me explain it again. Suppose a friend, she comes to you, okay, and she's in pain and she's crying. You are just seeing her crying, and then you also start crying. That is sympathy. किसी पे दया भाव करना, ठीक है, सहानुभूति करना. But empathy is when you understand the reason behind her tears, the real cause to her tears. Okay, that is empathy, which means samanubhuti. Example over here is Armstrong Pame in Manipur built 100 kilometers of road. Okay, why? Because he is an empathetic officer towards the people over there. Now, compassion, I have said, इसका मतलब होता है करुणा, which encompasses both sympathy and empathy. Okay, this means when you start acting on your empathy. For example, Mother Teresa, she worked for the destitutes in Kolkata. Okay. Now, tolerance. Tolerance का मतलब होता है सहिष्णुता. That means there may be diverse section of people with diverse thought, but you accept everyone's thoughts, right? You keep your thought there and you accept everyone's thought. India is a tolerant secular nation. We can say this over here. So for this, government has promoted Ek Bharat, Shresht Bharat, so that there is tolerance, national integration and harmony amongst all the states. Okay. Last one I have just discussed, compassion. When you start acting in empathy, that becomes the compassion. So you can say this is your sympathy, okay? A greater circle is your empathy, and encompassing both is the compassion. Is it clear? Now, let's very quickly see that Second Administrative Reform Commission in its fourth report, Ethics in Government, has mentioned about Nolan Committee. And what is this Nolan Committee? It describes certain fundamental values for public life. Okay. To make it easy for you, you can remember it by OHILO ALS, which means openness, honesty, integrity, okay, objectivity, accountability, leadership, and selflessness. So, the first keyword over here is selflessness, which means niswartha. You are doing things as a bureaucrat, but you are doing for public welfare, not for any kind of personal gain. Okay, you are acting solely in public interest. Example, I have just discussed about E. Sridharan, the Metro Man of India, or you can give example of Abdul Kalam also over here. Integrity. Integrity means satyanishta. Coherency in your thoughts, action and belief, even when nobody is watching you. Again, Lal Bahadur Shastri, a classic example over here. Objectivity, vastunishta, where you are talking on the basis of facts, right? And you're giving importance to merit. Example over here, we have seen that in UPSC recruitment process, it is based on objectivity, right? Because it is merit-based exam. Accountability, all these keywords I have discussed in 50 terminologies. I will put the link of that video also in the section. Accountability, it means jawabdehi, ठीक है? Understand that in accountability, there is a responsibility and there is a answerability. Both of them go side by side. Okay, you take responsibility for certain action, ठीक है? And then you answer also. For example, whatever audits the CAG does, okay, the report which is placed in the parliament by it, by this, the legislature holds the executive accountable for its expenditure and the welfare schemes. Is it clear? Another keyword over here is openness. Openness means khulapan. Okay? Transparency means pardarshita. Both can be linked together. Now it means conducting decisions transparently. Okay? Example, Right to Information Act we have seen, or you can say Jan Lokpal Bill. Okay? All these are bringing openness in the governance. Okay, another keyword over here is honesty, which means being truthful to one's own action. Example, again, MPs, they must file the amount of assets they have, right? Okay, the last keyword in Nolan Committee is leadership. It was under Abdul Kalam's leadership that India's missile program had reached or started with satellite launch vehicle. Okay, now UPSC has also mentioned certain other core values in public services. The first one over here is devotion to duty. That means you do your work without any desirable outcome. Okay. It is mentioned in Bhagavad Gita as Nishkam Karma. IS officers who had been working or the doctors who had been working during the pandemic. Another keyword which UPSC mentions is sense of mission. So it was during Operation Flood that we saw that India entered into white revolution, and who is held responsible for this? Dr. Verghese Kurian. Okay, and ISRO's missions also you can see Chandrayaan 3, Aditya L1, right? Probity and fortitude. Now understand, probity, it means honesty plus procedural integrity, right? Here, there is no misappropriation of funds. Suppose you are a bureaucrat and you get a vehicle, right? That vehicle has to be used only for your public service purposes. Your personal vehicle must be used for your personal purposes by your family, right? That keeps probity in governance. Another example over here, we have seen while Vinod Roy, he held a constitutional post, Article 148 under CAG, right? But during the tenure of Congress government, he reported about the 2G scams, right? Now this brings probity in governance. Accountability, Jawabdehi, I think we are repeating the terms here, RTI, Lokpal. Moral courage is standing for what one's right despite risk. Now, P is Apu. He has been director of Labasta. He resigned on the ethical grounds because he believed that certain things were right at that point of time and government was not taking action on that. Okay, so I think this is it. The question which UPSC has asked in past year over here, that 3 basic universal values, you can say one is integrity, right? One you can put empathy and compassion, and the third you can put over here is emotional intelligence, because these are very 3 essential qualities which are required in a bureaucrat. And all these keywords you have to use in your answers and your case study. Thank you.